Think beyond traditional business banking. Think a partner that gives you in-depth financial insights.
The pandemic pushed the fast-forward button on digitization. It's become clear that a business will risk missing out if it avoids embracing digital technology and the related payment options. Good news is that the options are becoming easier and more accessible for all types of enterprises. I want to start with why digital payments have taken off. I would imagine just reducing the reliance on cash, safety and convenience, those top the list for a small to a medium-sized business, doesn't it?
Absolutely. I mean, if we look at the evolution of cash, moving on to checkbook, moving on to credit card, today we still have 90% of the economy that's cash-based in Africa, 50% for South Africa, so we see a strong evolution. But yet still, 1 out of 7 South Africans have a credit card, yet 7 out of 8 have a bank account. So when you talk about businesses and consumer, surely it's time for us to look at the 47 million South Africans with a bank account and how we can enable them to transact digitally and be part of the financial inclusion.
That's the one advantage. You grab the market that hasn't been tapped into. But there's another advantage, I would think, is that you would be able to know the consumer activity and behavior of your customer a bit more clearly if you know what they're paying for.
Absolutely. So categorization of payment is a lot easier to do, especially when the user is in charge of choosing the reference from EFT payment. But it also enables a lot more additional benefit. It's a lot more cost effective. And we can see it from a fraud perspective where instant EFT is today a lot safer than any other alternative payment method for merchants and consumers.
Around about 2013, that's when this really started taking off, digital payments overall. And it's become a very competitive space. The key is when a business looks at that space, which is the right platform to choose?
If you look at the population and how many had internet access, it obviously reduced the opportunity for people to partake in the financial and digital inclusion. I think the internet population now has more than doubled in South Africa in the past 10 years. So add this with also the unbanked being able to be banked, we start basically seeing the beginning of a J-curve of what's going to happen over the next 10 to 20 years.
And it's interesting that it's been taken up, but look, there are barriers, there are some hurdles sometimes. The cost of data being one of them. We're not the cheapest in the world. And then of course you have, cash flow. That could be a problem. How do you navigate through all of that? Because at the end of the day, you need to convince the business, go this route.
That's a very good point. And I think this is what you're seeing. Look at the cost of data over the past 10 years. It's decreased manyfold to a point where, just like payment, at one stage it will become so commoditized that it might even be free. So if we look at the evolution of payment, if we look at the evolution of internet, it's all about the economy of scale. The more people will use it, the more affordable it will become. And hopefully our vision is in the next 3 to 5 years, we hope to see something like payment and data becoming a free service.
Do you have concerns about those who are unsure about safety?
It's always easier to hack than being hack-proof. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes nowadays. What's very important is to rely on the fact and the numbers that we're seeing. And what we are looking at from the early stages of bank payment is that these infrastructure were built for the modern age of online payments. It's slowly now moving onto your mobile phone, which enables you to pay at point of sale or online or via peer-to-peer. And the number shows that it's probably one of the most secure way to pay compared to all traditional methods. So I think for the early infancy stage that we're in, it shows great potential in terms of lowering fraud to almost zero.
The pandemic pushed the fast-forward button on digitization. It's become clear that a business will risk missing out if it avoids embracing digital technology and the related payment options. Good news is that the options are becoming easier and more accessible for all types of enterprises.
This program is in partnership with Nedbank Commercial Banking, a banking partner that thinks bigger to guide your business growth.